lay mapuslan. Bugma budika, bungkag. Ana taytaya na sa SRP kana taytaya. Tanawan magdi law kina.
Indonesia is reeling beneath one of the deadliest disasters of the decade. Sumatra has been engulfed, ruptured, and torn apart by unstoppable floods and collapsing mountainsides. Entire regions have fallen into chaos at the same time, leaving millions stunned by the scale of destruction. More than 248 people are dead, and the number continues to climb with painful inevitability. In Aceh, the tragedy began quietly. Villagers fell asleep beneath steady rainfall, unaware that the ground beneath them had begun to weaken. Then, without a single scream of warning, the hillside fractured. A torrent of mud tore downhill, devouring homes before families could even rise from bed.
Memang luar biasa, komandan kita.
Cepat kita mulai. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah.
Ay, rumah gua habis hancur.
Survivors describe the moment as the earth breaking open. The tremor came first, a subtle shift, like something enormous turning beneath the soil. Then came the roar, a deep, choking growl that grew louder as the mountainside collapsed. Within seconds, darkness replaced familiar landscapes. North Sumatra faced the most catastrophic blow. Floods surged into narrow valleys with terrifying speed, smashing apart settlements that had stood for generations. Mountain roads vanished under landslides. Electricity poles were ripped away like twigs. District after district fell into simultaneous disaster. In the Batan Toru Valley, the destruction became almost unimaginable. A violent surge of water thundered through the valley like a runaway train. Houses were uprooted, spun violently, and carried into the night. Families watched their entire world drift away in minutes. Further west, West Sumatra's Agam district collapsed with brutal suddenness. Rain-soaked slopes cracked open without warning, unleashing walls of earth that swallowed entire villages. When rescue teams finally arrived, they found rooftops poking through the mud like grave markers. Entire communities had simply vanished.
Amo na din sa overflow sa bungo. Pagsuba na gid ang dalan. Pila ka tuig lang mo plan nagtubig.
Across Sumatra, the search for survivors grows more desperate by the hour. Over 100 people remain missing, lost in rivers, trapped beneath mud, or stranded in places unreachable by road. Families gather at makeshift centers, listening for names, dreading silence. Each update brings a new wave of heartbreak. The island's infrastructure collapsed with astounding speed. Roads fractured as the shifting ground tore them apart. Highways crumbled, leaving cars stranded in broken asphalt. Multiple bridges collapsed into violent rivers, isolating entire regions overnight.
Sawahnya Gusti, ya Allah, tinggal nah murukeun lagi dengan sanes menang. Aci salit teh murukeun nyawa teh. Kajantan nanti ayeuna banjir si salabar we, kanu kamu sibahan, anu kadu sawah siwahan.
Then came the blackout. Substations flooded and electrical towers toppled under landslide pressure. Provinces across Sumatra plunged into darkness. No power, no signal, no way to call for help. Communication vanished when it was needed most. Inside their homes, people fought desperately to stay alive. Water burst through doors and windows, carrying shards of debris and shattered furniture. Parents lifted children onto shelves, cupboards, anything that floated. Rooftops became the last refuge against a rising sea of mud.
Yes. Kurang.
Thousands spent the night clinging to these rooftops. Rain pounded the tin like an endless barrage, each drop echoing fear. Below them, floodwater erased roads, shops, and farmlands. Nothing resembled the place they had known hours earlier. For rescuers, the disaster zone resembled a war front. Heavy machinery sank in sludge, unable to move. Teams were forced to dig through debris with shovels, sticks, even their bare hands. Every rescue was a race against collapsing ground. Some areas remained unreachable for days. Teams trekked through waist-deep currents, scaled fractured cliffs, and crossed unstable slopes. Destroyed towns greeted them with silence. Broken walls, overturned vehicles, and survivors too exhausted to speak. The scale of destruction stunned even veteran responders. Where roads no longer existed, helicopters took over. They dropped food, clean water, blankets, and medicine into isolated communities. Boats navigated what used to be streets, gliding over intersections now deeper than rivers. Relief efforts advanced inch by inch. Evacuation shelters filled to capacity within hours. Families arrived soaked, carrying nothing but fear and the clothes on their backs. Children cried through the long nights, terrified the rain would never stop. Volunteers worked tirelessly to comfort them. The danger isn't over, it's evolving. Stagnant water surrounds the camps, breeding bacteria and disease. Doctors warn of outbreaks that could spread quickly in crowded shelters. Clean water is dwindling, and medical supplies are stretched thin.
Posisi jembatan baru sudah jebol.
Livelihoods face a devastating setback. Rice fields lie drowned under thick layers of sediment. Coffee and palm plantations have collapsed, their soil ripped away by landslides. Years, sometimes decades, of hard work erased in a single week.
Cepat kita mulai. La ilaha illallah.
The emotional impact runs even deeper. People flinch at the sound of thunder, fearing another landslide. Children wake at night, asking if the hills will fall again. Psychological wounds may outlast the damage to homes. Still, humanity refuses to surrender. Youth groups formed rescue lines in the floodwater, pulling strangers to safety. Villagers shared dry clothes, food, and blankets, even when they had little left themselves. Communities became lifelines for one another. Indonesia has launched a large-scale emergency response. Engineers, medical teams, and aid convoys are moving across Aceh, North Sumatra, and West Sumatra. But the damage spans hundreds of kilometers, far more than local teams can handle alone. The world's attention is desperately needed. Experts warn that this catastrophe is a glimpse of the future. Rugged terrain, rapid urban expansion, and warmer oceans create the perfect storm for deadly disasters. Sumatra may be today's victim, but this pattern is spreading across the region. Extreme weather is rewriting the landscape. Yet through the wreckage, resilience begins its quiet rise. Villagers clear roads with their own hands, salvaging what little remains. Families rebuild side by side, sharing tools and hope. The spirit of survival refuses to die. From Aceh's shattered hills to the valleys of Tapanuli and the plains of West Sumatra, one truth stands firm. Nature can devastate the land, but it cannot break the people who call it home. Sumatra will rise, stronger, wiser, and united. And the world will remember how its people fought back together.